The use of computer-generated imagery to create environments is a relatively new concept, only being introduced in the 1980s, and has had a rapid evolution since its inception. In this video, I will be looking at how computer-generated environments have progressed. The 1982 film Tron is described by computer animation history to have introduced the first fully CGI backgrounds in cinema. Because of this, it is understandably very limited in design and function. Objects and environments were compiled of simple shapes with plastic-looking textures, and movement within the world is unnaturally steady and precise. In a video displaying the making of Tron's CGI, Bill Croyer, the film's computer image choreographer, detailed the process of programming vehicle movement.
There really was no software to make anything move. There was only software to describe where things sat. And if you wanted something to go from here to here, it was literally as simple as, X is 4, now X is 6. We had to go ahead and break it down frame by frame by frame.
This would have been a very monotonous process, potentially being off-putting for filmmakers around the time. The Star Wars prequel trilogy was created almost 20 years after Tron and displayed an exponential growth in computer animation technology, with the implementation of projection mapping onto digital objects. Corridor special effects artist Ren Weichman describes an example of projection mapping in The Phantom Menace.
And they basically just took a lot of pictures of, arches and stuff like that, and they projected it onto 3D models, and that allowed them to have very realistic looking environments.
Though looking very impressive in some scenes, the visual quality of the galaxy was inconsistent throughout the trilogy, creating a somewhat jarring experience for the viewer. One of James Cameron's goals with the Avatar series was to create a CGI world that the characters felt like they existed within. In an interview for IndieWire, Weta Effects' senior visual effects supervisor, Joe Lettery, recounts one of the ways he achieved this, stating, "Because it was a stereo film, working in layers was impossible, so we had this idea of depth compositing, where every pixel carries its own depth information, so the compositing is done pixel by pixel." Technology progressed even further by the time Avatar: The Way of Water released. A notable development was the involvement of Totara, a tool created by Weta Effects for War for the Planet of the Apes. Weta's visual effects supervisor, Dan Lemon, explains Totara's function in a 3D World magazine interview. Rather than building a tree and placing that tree by hand, you scatter seeds across your whole mountain, and then those seeds sprout, grow, and compete for resources. This created not only a visually realistic set, but an environment that followed the laws of nature, leading to a completely believable feeling world. Overall, the technology and workflow of CGI environments has progressed a considerable amount since its inception, and shows no signs of slowing down. The technology has also become infinitely more accessible to filmmakers, including the free-to-use video game engine Unity's acquisition of Weta Digital in 2021. This accessibility can only lead to further development in technology to create even more alive-feeling virtual worlds in film.